Please rise. Municipal Court for the City of Stoughton is now in session. The Honorable Matthew T. Rothy presiding.
Please be seated. Please silence all cell phones and cease all conversations. We'll call the court to order at this time. My name is Matt Rothy. I'm the Stoughton Municipal Court judge. Covers the cities of Stoughton, towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland. Let me go through some of the procedures we follow in the courtroom. These procedures would have been available to you in the pamphlet as you enter the courtroom. We're here tonight for a pleas. This is initial appearance only. I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, I'll review the police report, and if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty and impose an appropriate forfeiture. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but a conviction arising from a no contest plea cannot be used against you in a subsequent civil action. Let me explain that. If you're involved in a traffic accident, and basically, if you enter a no contest plea, that person can't sue you can't use that no contest plea against you for damages. If you're admitting guilt and plead guilty, that person could say that you admitted guilt and therefore you should be entitled to further restitution. Forfeitures range from $20 to $1,000. However, almost all are within the $50 to $150 range. The state mandates we add cost to your forfeiture. For example, a $50 forfeiture will result in a total fine to you of $124. I'll grant you 60, right? 30 days to pay the fine. If you need additional time, please let me know. We have limited options to collect. I'd rather work out a payment plan or a payment arrangement rather than suspend your driver's license or intercept your taxes. If you enter a not guilty plea, I order a pretrial conference where you have a phone conversation with the prosecuting attorney. Those will occur on the phone date of November 2nd. It's a chance to resolve it before you go to trial. If you can resolve it, the prosecutor tells me, and then I usually approve the stipulations. If you can't resolve it, you come back here for a trial in front of me. Those of you here facing traffic offenses should understand that you lose demerit points upon conviction of most offenses. If you lose 12 or more points within a year, you lose your license to drive in Wisconsin for a certain period of time. You'll also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before entering your plea. You have a right to ask for a continuance. That means you can set this matter over for another time, either to consult with a lawyer or for some other reason. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. Those of you charged with operating a motor vehicle are under the influence are entitled to request a jury trial in the circuit court upon payment of the proper fees. All their cases will be handled in this court with the right to appeal my ruling to circuit courts. That concludes my opening remarks. Let's see. Here it is. Thank you. Take people on a first-come, first-served basis. The first case is Gregory Moratz.
Here or sit down?
At the podium, please. Thank you. Mr. Moratz, let me pull up your information. Do I have your correct address on Woodson Court in Sun Prairie?
No, it's changed.
What is it now?
6142 County Road I, and that's in Wanakee, 53597.
Did you get that? Okay, good. Okay. All right, Mr. Moratz, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. You have two citations. The first one is for operating a motor vehicle while under the influence. That's known as, operating while impaired or intoxicated or OWI or DWI. Those are all part of the whole lexicon. So an OWI case, just a minute, it disappeared on me. OWI basically has the following elements: that you were operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant or something that impaired your driving while driving on highways on the state or premises held up for the public use. So the penalties are as follows. Now, I see where there's a companion ticket where you have operating with a controlled substance. This means that you're operating a motor vehicle with a controlled substance means anything that's restricted by law, so any amount detected in your blood, basically. So the penalties are as follows. You're facing, the forfeiture is $150 to $300. There's a $355 assessment, so the total forfeiture ranges from about $705 to about $950. So you're right in the middle of that at $861. In addition to that, 6 demerit points that are issued your driver's license. You have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment, and, let's see, alcohol and drug was 6 points, 6-month driver's license revocation. Now, the forfeiture range on a OWI, if this were alcohol, is 6 to 9 months, depending on your alcohol level. However, there are no levels for a controlled substance. So the way I treat that is just the minimum 6-month driver's license revocation then. So, in addition, there's also an interlocking ignition device if your blood alcohol content is a 1.5 or higher. But since if there's no alcohol above that level, I can't order an interlock ignition device being installed in your vehicle either. So, do you understand the elements as the forfeitures as I've discussed them?
Yeah.
Okay, so the same with operating with a controlled substance would be the same. 6-month driver's license revocation, 6 points, AODA requirement, and a forfeiture of between $705 and $950. I can only charge you you can only be fined on one set. What normally happens is that you enter a plea, if you enter a plea, I'll find you guilty of both, but I only impose that one set. So for example, the forfeiture you'd be facing would be $861, okay? In addition, there's a fee for a blood draw. The fee for the blood draw would be $62.82. So the total forfeiture, if you played tonight, would be $861 plus $62.82 is $923.82. Okay. I've explained the forfeiture range. Do you have any questions regarding that?
No, not really.
Okay.
No.
Explained all the penalties, the elements of the offense, points and citations, and then the plea. Any questions for me?
No.
Okay. Right, so let me expound on the mandatory, if you have to take an alcohol and drug assessment, that means your initial assessment, and then you have to do some required counseling follow-up in order to get your driver's license back. So,
Okay.
all right, thank you. Any questions?
Not right now, but I
Okay.
guess we can talk more about it after I get,
Okay,
Yeah,
now's the
sentence
time I
or-
take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
guilty.
Okay, you understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let me review sometimes people like to contest it later, but let me review the police report. Let me, to make sure I have a
Sure.
factual basis for your plea. These are lengthy police reports, so it might take me a little bit.
The final state lab reports.
Okay, I saw that. Okay, thanks. Okay. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Okay. Anything you want to tell me before I decide on sentence?
I have been clean now for about a year and a half. I found a program, Alcoholics Anonymous, and through actions directly taken in that, I've managed to be able to get together a year and a half of sobriety, which is something that, like, I didn't even know, was possible.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm clean today and stuff, but, it's gifted me this, like, whole new way of life that I didn't know was possible. So I guess I just, maybe I'll say that before you go.
Okay, okay. Because there was drugs involved, I do find a factual basis. I found you guilty of both, but because there's no measure amounts of alcohol, the revocation period is gonna be the minimum 6 months. That's just the way I interpret that. You'll have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class. 6 merit points will be issued your driver's license. I do find the forfeiture listed in the citation to be appropriate, 861. I'll add the $62.82 charge to that for total forfeiture, $923.82. How much time do you need to pay that?
I can pay it today.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days. So if you want, there's a dispatch window downstairs, you can pay it right there. But I'll give you the form to include, just in case you can't make it today, that where to mail a payment then.
Okay.
In addition, I also have what's called a court order for IDP-related offense assent and driver safety plan. What that basically means is you're to call a number within 72 hours to make sure you set up that alcohol and drug assessment. So if you want to read that form and sign both, you keep one and you can give the other one to the bailiff.
So who do I have to call after?
It's on the form.
It is?
And I'll give you a form with this as an OWI assessment as well.
Oh, so I sign there? Sign both? Okay.
Got lost in the system from 2 years ago. I don't know if you were aware.
Oh, okay.
This is-
Okay, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
One second.
Sure.
You need to sign
Oh,
this
thank you.
copy.
You want to bring the other one back? I have to sign both of them, so. And then, actually, you can give him that one, and then I can give him just these forms as well.
I have one more. The other one with no penalties.
So while so I'm going to give you, basically, I signed them both, that way you got a copy and you can call that number. I've got the disposition sheets for how much the fine is, and then how you can get an occupational license, and how you can get, and basically the number to call for the assessment as well.
All that is in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's your judgment and orders. Here's the one he found you guilty of. So, there's the due date if you don't pay it today.
Okay.
Here's the other one he found you guilty of. On that.
Right.
That's just those. If you go to pay it today, just take that down.
Okay.
Signed. Here's who you have to contact. Phone number you have to call. That's that section. That gives you information about the occupational license.
Okay.
That's everything for you.
Okay.
And with it, that will take care of it this evening then, so.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Sign that one.
Oh, these ones are.
Ready? Sure. Okay. Next would be Daryl Weber. Mr. Weber, do I have your correct address on Main Street here in Stoughton?
Yeah.
All right. You received a citation for failure to yield the right-of-way from a stop sign. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80, and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. Now, $98.80 is $30 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is narrow. Let me check. I think it's $20 to $40, but let me verify that. At $20 to $50, so you're not at the minimum, but you're fairly close. In addition, any type of failure to yield a right-of-way, if you're convicted of this, the state mandates that you take a class. If you don't take that class, your driver's license will get suspended. Something out of my control, but that's just something legislature
Oh, I
enacted.
didn't
and
know
so,
that. That's-
What's
This is
that?
new to me. I've never had it,
Right.
never been ever.
Never been in trouble before.
Oh, no, I got in trouble, but that's way. I had a speeding ticket, and I think that was in 1989.
Okay, so a long time ago then. So though I given you the forfeiture range, do you understand what failure to yield a right-of-way from a stop sign is?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to review the elements with you?
I have no idea how I did it.
Oh, do you want me to I can tell you what the law says, if you want me to
Oh,
read
no,
the statute.
I know, I'm
Okay,
fully familiar with it.
all right. So I got your address, talked about the fines. Any questions for me?
Well, I just thought it was kind of with the 4
Wait,
points.
hang on. I should say any procedural questions, because.
No,
Okay.
sir.
The prosecutor's not here, so if you start telling me about the case, what happens is
Oh, no,
I
no,
can't
no,
have
I'm
any
just
knowledge of
asking
that.
about the points. I've never.
Oh, it's
I'm-
it's 4 demerit points issued your driver's license.
That's what I mean, I've never had anything like that happen. No contest is for me.
Oh, would you like to enter a no contest plea?
No contest?
Okay, you understand with a no contest plea?
Yes, I know.
I'll find you guilty as a factual
Yes,
basis?
I know.
Okay, let me read the police report, I want to make sure I have a factual basis. And remember, you have to take a class at the
Yep.
DOT as well, okay. I just want to make sure you're clear on
That's
that.
what I wanted to find out, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I read the police report, I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a fine?
No,
Okay.
I just was, I've never had anything like this before. It's-
Okay. Well, I mean, these things happen, that's why they're called accidents sometimes.
Yeah,
and so-
but man, oh man, I've got to, I'll be quiet. I've driven over 1 million miles with the state of Wisconsin and that, and I've never had it.
Okay. Well, I will find that the forfeiture $98.80 to be appropriate. How much time do you need to pay?
I will pay it. I come prepared.
Okay. I'll give you the face sheet, I'll give you 30 days, but you can take the form and then just take that to the dispatch window downstairs, and you can pay right away if that's your inclination
Okay.
then. So,
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
And one more question, like with the 4 points, when I take the class, will that,
no,
No?
there's a traffic safety class where you can get 3 points back, but that's a separate class from failure to yield, the right-of-way class.
Okay.
So, you have to take that
all
one.
right, I just still
I understand.
shocked that I had that happen, so.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in tonight, that will take care of it.
This is just some information about that plan.
Okay, there's a phone number and everything on
And DOT will mail you a letter about it.
it. Okay, because I'll do it as soon as I can. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Bruno S. Pasanden? Did I say that correctly? Good. Mr. Espasandon, do I have your correct address on Charles Lane in Stoughton?
Yes,
All right, you received a citation for operating left of center. Do you understand what operating left of center means?
yes.
You want me to review the elements of the law with you?
No, I kind of understand it.
okay.
Is that the only one on there?
No. In addition to that, there's failure to keep vehicle under control. Let me go through the operating left of center citation first. So that citation carries a penalty of 4 points and a forfeiture of $136.60, which is $60 plus cost. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So you're not at the minimum, but you're at the low end of the scale. You understand that?
Yes,
All right. Do you have a probationary license?
I do. I don't think so.
Let's see, let's see, birthday night, you're 23.
Yes,
Did you get your license at 16?
I did.
Okay, yeah, the probationary license would have ended when you were 19 then, so, okay. In addition, let's see, where's my trustee? Where did you get that? Did I get that back to you? Oh, here it is. Never mind. There's some failure to yield citations that require that DOT class, and this is one of them. So if you're found guilty of operating left of center, you would have to take a failure to yield, or you have to take a special class from the Department of Transportation, and if you don't, the license would be then, your license would be suspended. So, that, and this is one of those, the citations. So that's the, and I don't have anything to do with that. The state DOT runs the licensing, and they've determined that you have to take a class for those as well. Your other citation is failure to keep vehicle under control. This citation carries a penalty of $136.60 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. Again, it's $60 fine plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So again, you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. That's also 4 points. If you enter a plea tonight of no contest to guilty, I find you guilty of both. I don't have any discretion on whether to dismiss one or plead the other. If you want to enter a deal where one of them might be dismissed, my suggestion would be to enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor about that.
Okay, so does so being left of center, that doesn't fall under failure to keep under?
They're two separate citations.
Okay,
The elements are not, I mean, there's one set of elements for left of center, just left of center, and failure to keep control. That means you didn't keep your vehicle control. If you want, I can read the elements, but they're two separate tickets for both of them.
okay, would you be able to read the failure to keep vehicle under
Yeah,
control
sure.
by chance?
So, failure to keep vehicle under control, that's, it's ordinance number 70-1. So that's the city of Stoughton ordinances, and it's adopted, the city ordinance is adopted state statute 34657-2, which reads as follows. Put that down. Okay, it's speed restrictions, and there's a series of definitions in number 2. Reasonable and imprudent limit. No person shall drive a vehicle at a speed greater than is reasonable and prudent under the conditions and having regard for the actual and potential hazards then existing. The speed of the vehicle shall be controlled as may be necessary to avoid colliding with any object, person, vehicle, or other conveyance on or entering the highway in compliance with legal requirements and using due care. That is failure to keep vehicle under control.
Okay. Could I plead no contest to the?
One and then not the other. I just had soon have you enter not guilty plea to both of them, and then have you meet with the prosecutor.
Okay, yeah,
Discuss
if I could do that.
That's what we'll do. So, okay, we'll enter not guilty plea for both. And what we'll do is that, I'll give you a notice in just a minute, but make sure on November 2nd, that's the date, make sure that you call in, because if you don't call in, the prosecutor tell me that you didn't call in, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty of both offenses.
Okay.
So just follow the instructions in the form and make sure that you call. It's a chance to tell your side of the story or strike a bargain with the prosecutor, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case as well.
Okay, so that's over the phone
It's
thing?
over the phone, correct?
Okay.
So, all right, I'll give you that notice in just a minute, and then when you see that notice, that will take care of it for this evening then.
All right,
All right,
thank you.
feet of her, but still. Yeah. Still hanging around. Justin James? Mr. James, do I have your correct address on Forest Street in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
All right. Received 2 citations. The first one is for operating while suspended. That citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued your license. So that's $50 plus costs. Forfeiture range on this is, let me check. I think it's 50 to 300, but actually it's 0 to 200. So you're not at the minimum range, but you're kind of on the low end of the scale. Do you understand what operating while suspended is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Second citation that you have is operating motor vehicle without insurance. That citation carries a penalty of $124 and 0 demerit points issued your license. You understand what operating motor vehicle without insurance is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions regarding the procedures of these citations?
No, sir.
All right. Now is the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Not guilty.
Okay. With the not guilty plea, we'll schedule the matter for pretrial conference with the city attorney. I'll give you the notice in just a minute. November 2nd, make sure that you call. If you have proof of insurance or you have a valid license, I'm sure the prosecutor would be interested in hearing that then. So, yeah, especially if you have proof, you might even want to send it to
Yeah,
them. So.
Took care of it 2 days after this. 'cause
Okay,
I didn't
okay.
even know.
Let them know, send that to them, and I think that will help the negotiations. And so,
Yes, sir.
once you get that notice, when you just follow the instructions, make the call. And if you don't, I got to find you a default,
Yep.
which is especially harsh if you've already taken care of this. So, make sure that you go ahead and follow the instructions and follow through on the phone call then.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that, once you get the notice, that will take care of it for this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next one says updated. It says updated. There's 2 different reports. One says updated on it.
I would call it.
Did I click on the, I can click on the updated? That's okay. So I click on the updated one?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right. Corey Finfrock? Mr. Finfrock, do I have your correct address on County Road MM in Fitchburg?
Yes, sir.
All right. You received a citation, or let's see, 3 citations. Let's go over the one first. Failure to keep vehicle under control. This citation carries a penalty of $136.60, 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. You had $60 plus costs. The forfeiture range is between $30 and $300. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other site, do you understand what failure to keep the vehicle under control is?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So that citation carries a penalty of 4 points. You received 2 other citations. One is for operating a motor vehicle under the influence of an intoxicant, and the other is for operating a motor vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration, most likely. Correct. So these are basically, the elements are similar. One is with a prohibited alcohol concentration, the other is saying that you didn't, you were under the influence. Basically, they're 2 separate elements. If you were to take this to trial, you have to be found not guilty of both. But I can only impose 1 set of forfeitures for both citations. So the forfeitures for the OWI are as follows. It's forfeiture of $861. Now, the forfeiture range is $150 to $300. Then they add costs. Then they add the cost of an assessment, which is $355. So that usually results in a total forfeiture of between $705 and $950. At $861, you're about right in the middle for that. In addition to the $861, there's also 6 points issued your driver's license. You also would be required to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class. Now, there is a revocation period of between 6 to 9 months, and there's a chart-based penalty by the district, my court district. So it's as follows. If you're under a 1.5, it's a 6-month driver's license revocation. If you're between a 1.5 and a .199, 7. If you're .2 or higher, it's 8. If there's any type of if there's an accident or any type of bad driving behavior, typically that penalty increases by 1 month. So that's how the 6 to 9 month is arrived at. Now, in addition, if you're above a 1.5, the state mandates that I order an interlock ignition device be installed in all vehicles registered in your name and all vehicles that you drive for a period of 12 months. Do you know what an interlock ignition device is? It's one machine that you have to blow into in order to start the car.
So no matter what you do, you automatically have to do that? There's no, you can't like,
I can't, but the prosecutor can. So if you want to talk about the IED with the prosecutor, there's some leeway with that. It depends on, like, there's some defenses, there's curve arguments, there's a lot of things that you can talk to the
I
prosecutor
just know
about.
like you know, for the forfeiture, you can
Right.
figure out what that is.
Right,
Okay.
with an IID, I can't, so, is that what you want to do? You want to go ahead and enter a not guilty plea and talk to the prosecutor about this?
No,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm just making sure.
All right. Right, so, okay, so I've talked to you about the 861, 6 points, alcohol and drug assessment, 6 to 9 months, IID. In addition, if there was a blood draw, I also have to add $62.82 surcharge to you as well. So the total forfeiture would be $923.82. Okay, you understand what operating while under the influence is?
Yes, sir.
You understand what operating with a prohibited alcohol concentration is?
Yes, sir.
All right, you understand the failure to keep vehicle under control as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so we talked about points and penalties, IID. One thing with the IID, it's not something that you can sit out. You can't say, I'm not going to drive for a year, and then it goes away. You actually have to, it's the first product you get. So in other words, if you have an occupational license or you wait the whatever time to get your regular license back, that's when the year period starts.
So when I was looking at that, I thought there was an option of the interlock or the 24-hour sobriety monitoring. So like right now, I'm on the Scram mobile breathalyzer. So I thought that was an option. It's like one or the other.
I haven't seen the Scram. Nobody from the DOT has informed me about the Scram.
I'm on it right now. I mean,
I understand that, but I mean, it's not.
But can't you order that? It's like if I want to have like that monitor for the next year, because it's for a whole year, which would help me stay sober, can't you order that versus the interlock? Because then I'd have it 24 hours a day.
I don't know about it. So, in other words, if it's a state pass, I haven't been informed by it. So I technically, I could order that, but what I've been told is that when you're a 1.5 or higher, from what I've read of the state laws, that I have to order an interlock ignition device be installed in your vehicles then, rather than the Scram, as you called it then, so, okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I just looked it up online. So when I got the charge, I actually went in to see what all the stipulation was, and I thought that I read it was you could pick one or the other.
I'm gonna learn something. What's that? Have you heard of that? Okay. What was it called?
What's that?
With the program you called Scram?
It's the Scram. It's like just the Scram mobile breathalyzer. So when we looked it up, it was 24-hour monitoring, which would be the mobile breathalyzer unit. So the unit I'm on through my probation and parole is the 24-hour.
So that's separate. That's separate if you're on probation, parole, and you've got a Scram test and all that. That's a total, this
Right,
is,
no, I know. I just thought when I looked on the site for the charge, I thought it was you could order one or the other.
no, I mean, the Scram for that is, like, for the penalties on that, for OWI, the Scram is probably through probation, parole, and it's also through the criminal courts.
Sure.
And this is a civil court, so because it's a civil court, I have different penalties.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do, let me just make sure. Okay, so because you'd be convicted under 346.63, and the penalties are in 346.65. So let me look up that statute. Penalties for violating the OWI, $150 to $300. And then they go through various offenses. So that contains the forfeiture. Let's see the rest of these. I've never had this come up before, so let me make sure that I'm correct. No, I'm not seeing anything for the scram at all on this, so I'm just seeing it for the IID. Or
I don't know if they've mentioned scram by name, or it was just 24-hour monitoring alcohol.
I looked at the statutes, and I don't, that's
That's
not one of
fine.
the
That's
elements.
fine.
in it, So, okay, so, go back to where it was. Okay, so we've gone through the elements, talked about the ID. All right, so now's the time I take your pleas. Three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
Okay, you understand with no contest plea, if there's a factual basis, police report, I'll find you guilty? All right, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. I'll find you guilty of the failure to keep vehicle under control and the OWI and both the PAC. Anything you'd like to say before I sign a sentence?
Yes. So prior to all that taking place, I knew that I had a drinking problem. I reached out to my wife, who actually is an adult psych, trying to get set up in programming. It was I didn't do that in time and ended up getting crashed my car. Thankfully, no one was hurt. I was not hurt. The property damage, that could be replaced. But since that time, I have a letter from a counselor that I have. I've been in an IOP program. So Monday I'm going to be graduating. I think it's an 8-week, 24-session IOP program, which is 9 hours of programming a week. I got continued step-down program, which is going to be like another 3.5 hours of different groups throughout the week. I have started going to like AA programs, sober events, which I'm trying to just experience more things, to help in my recovery. Mentor program, I got a mentor, not a sponsor, but it's somebody through Connections Counseling. Just if I have questions. With my agent, I am on the Scram, thing where I have that 24 hours a day. I have set times. I'm going to see, if you can't give me that, I'm going to actually ask my agent if I can continue that just for like the next year while I'm in recovery.
I can't. It's
No,
not
I'm going to ask my agent because I thought you could have done that, which would have helped me out. So since all that happened, I am in treatment. I see a one-on-one counselor. I've been dealing with mental health. Everything that I need to do, I take full responsibility, obviously. If there is anything you can do with the forfeiture or whatever is in your control, I guess that's what I take in consideration what I'm doing because I am getting treatment. I'm going to continue treatment for the next, 3 to 6 months, and then, stay tied in with Connections, mentor program, sober events. I went to the recovery rally in Madison, the NAMI walk, so I'm starting, being a part of that, so I can't stay in recovery, and this will never happen again.
Okay.
And I just asked for,
Okay.
take that into consideration.
All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'll make the finding that your blood alcohol content was a .208. I will order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name and also for a period of 1 year. That's a $50 surcharge. So here's what I'm going to do for the forfeiture. Hang on a second on the forfeiture. So now at .208, what will occur for that is .208. That's usually 8 months, and plus it was bad driving because you hit a car, because it then would make it 9 months. However, given the fact that the other driver had insurance, given the fact that you did have bad transmission, and I just had transmission with my car, so I can understand that, and the fact you attend counseling, your driver's license revocation period is going to be 7 months. So I'll give you a month, basically a month credit for the transmission, because that might have been what caused the vehicle crash, and then another one for counseling. So 7-month driver's license revocation. All right, here's what we're going to do. .208. Oh, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to calculate. All right. I don't have an OWI scheduled for me. So I'm going to reduce the forfeiture. I'm going to assess the 8262. But forfeiture, I believe the minimum forfeiture is 705. So I'm going to assess the minimum forfeiture of 705. But then I'm going to add a $50 surcharge for the IID. And then the, 6282. Total forfeiture is going to be, for the OWI, $817.82. How much time do you need to pay that?
Can I set up a payment plan? I mean, what's the leeway? I know you usually give 30 days, but like 60 days, if that kind of splits it up with.
Yeah, you know what, I'll give you 90 days to pay the total forfeiture, will that work?
Yep. And you
Okay.
can still like make payments on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, in addition, the forfeiture on the,
Can you say the amount for the OWI again, the forfeiture amount?
$817.82. Oh, 705.
705, thank you.
I think that's the minimum for that, memory serves. Now. Okay, so the forfeiture, and then you also have a forfeiture on the, failure to keep vehicle under control. It was $136.60, really kind of incidental to the whole item. I think the minimum on that is $30. It's actually $40. So I'll reduce the forfeiture on the failure to keep vehicle under control. The minimum $40 plus cost was to $111.40.
Thank you.
So the total forfeiture is $929.22, and I'll grant 90 days to pay. If you can't pay within 90 days, let us know. We can come in and we can have a hearing over whether we extend more time. I let the prosecutor weigh in, but most of the time, the extensions are granted. All right, so you have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class, 6 points issued your driver's license, IID required for 1 month, and the $50 surcharge. We've been taking care of the rest of forfeitures.
Would this IOP, because I had an assessment, would that satisfy the drug and alcohol assessment, or how does that work?
You're gonna have to give them a call to see if that satisfies it. Some, they might, it might not, I don't know. That's kind of their call. I'm gonna go ahead and sign this assessment. You have to call this number within 72 hours of receipt.
I'm gonna have to mail the IID paperwork, because I don't have it.
We're gonna mail the IID paperwork to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the assessments. Occupational license. Sure, we're good. Yep. Thank you. Here is the OWI assessment, occupational license. So I'm going to give you information on an OWI assessment, occupational license, and the total forfeiture. This indicates how much it is and where you can send in the payment then.
My license, were revoked, would you say 7 months?
7 months,
Okay.
correct.
And that starts right now?
We'll submit the information likely tomorrow, so you should be revoked either beginning tomorrow or by Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Assessment, this is the number you have to call within 72 hours. That's also who you'll ask.
Okay,
Assessment
the attorney, okay.
is good or not. This is an occupational. All of these are the findings of orders today. So this one's for the OWI. That's how much you'll. You see, found guilty of it, but there's no fine. And then this is
The woman in the corner or the?
same.
All right, is that it?
Okay,
Thank
they'll
you.
take care of it. Thank you. I'm sorry? Last one. Okay, Angela Yoakum? Ms. Yoakum, do I have your correct address on Pheasant Ridge Trail in Madison?
Yes,
All right. You were cited for retail theft, intentionally taking less than $500. That citation carries a penalty of $187. That's $100 plus costs. The forfeiture range on this is $50 to $1,000. So you're not at the minimum, but you're at the low end of the scale. Do you understand that?
yes,
Okay. Do you understand what retail theft is?
Yes.
Okay. My notes say that if you're found guilty of retail theft, normally there might be a restitution hearing. However, my notes say this is Walmart, and I know from past practices, Walmart does not, they do not request restitution hearings in my court, but they might request it from your own or from a collection agency. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any procedural questions for me?
I was wondering, is there any way I could get it dropped?
I can't drop that, but if you want to talk to the prosecutor about potentially getting it dropped, you can enter a not guilty plea, talk to the prosecutor on November 7th and see if you can reach an agreement.
Could I please?
Yeah, I'll enter a not guilty plea for that. Okay, we'll give you the form and the information. It'll be on November 2nd. Now, make sure that you call the prosecutor on November 2nd at the time, because if you don't, the prosecutor will tell me that you didn't call, and I'll find you default, and I'll find you guilty and impose that forfeiture. But if you and the prosecutor reach an agreement, then the prosecutor will present that to me, and I can review it, and I usually approve it. If you can't reach an agreement for whatever reason, and you've got a factual dispute, then I can hear a trial at a later date as well.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Once you receive the pretrial information, that will take care of it for this evening, and you're free to go.
All right. And this is over the phone again, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I left my expense report on your desk. Yeah, it's 51 cents, I think the
All
IRS
right,
rate's up.
thank you.
Yeah, I think it's up to like 57 cents or something like that. So. All right. Oh, here's that one.
Nobody hiding out in the hallway waiting, so.
Okay, thank you, Detective Hill. All right, Adam Orrit, is default judgment. I don't have any bond forfeitures on this. Oh, yeah, I do. There just aren't many. Michael Bays and Zola, default judgment. Jonathan Bauman is a default judgment. Matthew Briggs is a default judgment. Cale Drierson is a default judgment on all citations. Let's see, Guillermo Garcia Munguia is a default judgment on both citations. Gene Golke, upon the motion of the city, the citation's dismissed. Hannah Hansen is a default judgment. Anthony Harright is a default judgment. Bobby Harris is a default judgment. Kimberly Hoffman is a bond forfeiture. Jason Hunt is a default judgment. Elaine Karpinen is a default judgment on all citations. James Landenham is a default judgment on both citations. Tahia Lewis is a default judgment. Quincy Markowitz is a bond forfeiture. Maria Martinez is a default judgment. Aaron Mason, upon the request of the city, the citation is dismissed. Joshua Mayfield is a default judgment. Cody McCabe is a default judgment on both citations. Priscilla Medina is a default judgment. Shane Amoldrum is a default judgment. Kevin Molthoff is a bond forfeiture. Annie Ninneman is a default judgment. Ryan Perkins is a default judgment. Kathleen Shevelin is a bond forfeiture. Natasha Stankovich is a default judgment. Terrence Strict is a bond forfeiture. Joseph Lee Thompson Maldonado, is a default judgment on both citations. Xavier Vogt is a default judgment, both citations. Charles Avokanovich is a bond forfeiture. Blake Wake is a default judgment. Emma Wallachek is a bond forfeiture. Erica Watson is a default judgment. Dylan Wickert is a default judgment on both citations. Not guilty plea for that one. And Kiana Williamson is a default judgment on both citations. All right, anything else? All right.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Hold on. This came in last minute. Back, and this happened once before, our fax number while we were working remote was being transferred to the PD, and once Lieutenant Conlon left, no one else knew that faxes that came through should be sent to us, and so one came through from the law office.
Oh, sure.
Entering a not guilty plea.
Sure.
and it was defaulted. Because I didn't get that information. They're aware of it now, and it just
Okay.
was in the beginning.
I thought I was the only one to send faxes. I'll do that occasionally when I can't get an email to work, I'll just send a fax. So, yeah.
Thank you, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Court is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. All right, I'll keep my distance. I can disconnect that. All right, somebody in my office got COVID, so.
It seems like it's going around again.
I know.
The schools are going crazy, isn't it?
Probably because it got cold again and everybody kind of, it got cold this week and everybody kind of cooked inside, yeah.
Can't be exposed right now with John, I just,
Yeah.
I don't know
I'll keep my
the worst
distance.
thing for him. So neither of us have ever had it.
Wow.
I know, that's. but
I've
I-
had it.
Not for me, it's not surprising, because I never went anywhere.
Right. All right, I'll get that. Let's see if I can disconnect this one.
Or are you gonna take that, good? I gotta get a case for you.